Well, Hailey, thank you for being the second guest on Coaching Corner, and let's just dive right in. Tell me about your journey and kind of where you started and kind of where you're at now and what you're facing.
So I went to aesthetic school right out of high school when I was 18 in Denver, and I went to an amazing school. I loved it. I really thought that I was going to be like either a makeup artist or I was going to be like working with a doctor, doing intense laser treatments, stuff like that. Instead, I got into aesthetics at a really, really good time because in Wyoming, I went to school in Colorado, but I actually live here in Wyoming. Wyoming barely even like recognized what an esthetician was. So had to go 5 hours away to go to school, came back, and I just got into it at seriously the perfect time. People were just starting to hear about it and there wasn't a lot of competition. There was one spa in town that was hiring, and what she really needed help with was eyelash extensions. That's what kept her doors open. That's what kept her really busy. And so she trained me to do eyelash extensions along with the other services that she offered there. But it just took off like crazy. People were obsessed with it. We were the only people in town really doing it. And then after that, I was working part-time as a server as well at a restaurant that had just opened in town. And I was making like tons of money, an unbelievable amount of money. So when someone's training you to do eyelash extensions, you start lower. And so, we got so busy and it's like, I'm making so much money over here. Eyelash extensions is great, but the money's not there. So we ended up like parting ways. And then later, all of these clients, we live in a pretty small town, and all of these clients that I used to do, they would see me at my serving job and they'd be like, I want lashes. Where are my lashes? Like, what are you doing here? Come do my lashes. So
Stop slinging tacos, start doing lashes.
Yeah. And so it was very organic. So I actually started like taking people out of my kitchen while I was still serving. And after a while, my partner was like, I can't do this anymore. You have to like find a place to do this because I can't keep the house perfectly clean 24/7. So then I started working for my doctor. She rented me a room, and then I got very, very busy. I stopped working my serving job. I got so busy that I needed help. My mom actually went and got her aesthetic license so she could just help. I was going to stop doing all skincare services and kind of let her take over everything but eyelash extensions. We grew out of the doctor's office and needed to find our own space. And this was right when I became pregnant with my first child. So it was like really crazy. Moved into this other space, things flourished even with like, I got put on bed rest, maternity leave, it's not pay, all of that stuff. Came back, things continued to flourish, have had a few employees work with us. So my mom has really been.
Run the gamut of what I'm hearing a lot from you, and I'm taking notes as you're writing, is like there's been a lot of opportunities that have just kind of presented themselves to you, and you've kind of just gone with wherever the opportunities were guiding you. Do you think that's
100%? I never thought I would see myself here.
Okay.
Doing eyelash extensions all day, every day.
Okay. So what is the business model now?
So I do the eyelash extensions, and my mom works part-time. She watches my kids part-time, and then she also does skincare part-time. Okay. And we're partners, but she's technically the salon owner. But yeah, I mean, I work 4 days a week. I do 4 appointments a day, eyelash extensions all day long. And it's just getting to a point where I'm ready for something new.
Yeah. And it's very common. I mean, you are not unusual in kind of, you've reached a level of mastery where you're kind of at this maintenance. You're like, okay, well now what? And it's typical of entrepreneurs because we are so creative, and even that hustle to try and get to a certain revenue level or a certain number of clients or a certain skill set. We get there and we're like, well, I need something else to motivate me, because it's more of the chase and the challenge that keeps me interested rather than, the day-to-day of isolate, dip, and place. So it's not uncommon for you to kind of get to this point of like, okay, now what? Like I've achieved this great goal, right? The thing that I thought was impossible. And now I'm here and I'm like, well, okay, now what?
I know. And I have the best clients, the best setup. Like I have a great life. I can't believe how unsatisfied I've been the last couple years doing eyelash extensions.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is very repetitive. And there is the artistry aspect of it, which is, what kept me continuing on when I reach that kind of like, well, okay, like I've reached this new goal. So there's always the artistry aspect. But tell me about this, and this is something that I've been coaching a lot of people on lately. When was the last time you had a big dream?
I kind of have one right now, and it's really just in such an opposite direction
Shocking
of,
how that works,
I
right?
know, I know, but we love the idea of like traveling, and we love camping, we love going on trips. We went on a big trip in an RV for the first time. That was so much fun. So yeah, I mean, I do. I would love to kind of go in a different direction where um we have travelers come in, and maybe I have an event center, and maybe people could come have weddings, and I could do makeup or eyelash extensions or spa services and stuff like that. We live in Wyoming, and it's been like a really hot spot lately. We have so many travelers coming through. Everyone's just like found out about Wyoming, realized it's the best place ever, and there's been a lot of opportunities. So yeah.
Okay,
Shout
we're
out
going
to
to move
Wyoming.
away. Shout out to Wyoming. We're going to move away from the opportunities that are there, because that is why you got to where you're at. Yes, you have success, but what as far as coaching goes, my concern is more about what does Hayley want?
Mm-hmm.
What is fulfilling and rewarding to Hayley, and screw what we've built so far, because that's just been essentially, you've kind of just gone with shiny object syndrome. Whatever's
Yeah,
falling
you're
in your
right.
lap, you're like, great, I'll go do that. And that has worked out for you. A lot of people struggle a lot with that. Like shiny object
Mm-hmm.
comes and, oh, it's not what I thought it would be. But because I think you were in such, like you said, the timing worked out very well, that
Yeah.
the demand was there and you just fulfilled the gap in the marketplace for whatever the next thing was for you. So
Yes.
instead of continuing on that pattern, because chances are you're going to get something similar. Yeah, you may go in a completely different direction, but you may still feel that lack of satisfaction because it's not in alignment with what you want. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say you had all of the money in the world, that finances was not the reason you were going to make any decision, because more that you didn't have to work if you didn't want to, but you just want to work because it's something that you want to do for you, that you need something to do day to day. So what would that look like if you painted the dream life and money was taken care of and you had the ability or opportunity to do anything and you got to pick and choose what that was? Paint that picture for me.
Oh, I would love to. Well, I'm a helper at the end of the day. I'm a teacher. I love to help people. I love to feel like I've contributed to someone's life in the bigger picture. I love to be used as a vessel. And I think that at the end of the day, I would love to help others be successful. Really is what would make me be truly happy.
And
Is seeing other people's success.
define what success means to you, because that's interpreted a million different ways. So what does that mean to Hayley?
I just want to be happy and feel content and have enough money to like travel and do things for my family, and I want to hang out with my family and spend more time with them. But I know I'm always going to have something inside of me that's like I want to help, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So how do you define success for others? You said you want to help them be successful. What does that mean to you? How will you know if a student or, somebody that you're working with is successful?
Well, I guess from what I hear from the different women that I talk to is finances would be something that would help them become successful in their life. I think that just like showing women how to make money, and then like what you do, Tara, I love what you do. You're so inspirational, showing people that there can be different paths to get to their success. And like you're doing right now, just getting down to the why and what do you want and what does that look like. But I think the flexibility for people to be able to make money, but still have their dreams and their wants and other directions in their life, I think that that's a big part of might bring like the ultimate success and happiness, in my opinion.
So because I'm the third party coming in, I want to help you get clarity. So I'm going to start with you on some of the things you said. So if you can help a woman make $100,000, but she's not happy, do you feel like you've helped her?
No.
Okay, so it's not about the finances.
No.
It's not Hayley's going to come in and be your financial advisor and we're going to get down to the nitty gritty on the finances it's a little bit more deeper than that is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for sure, money is a tool to help you get to a lifestyle they want, or even the house or the neighborhood or the school district or the travel. Like, money is one of those tools to help us have experiences that we want to have. So going back to success for you, like if you had to define how you were going to help people, was happiness, contentment, travel, and time freedom was kind of the main ones you picked. So how the time freedom to me is really a big one, because I do feel like a lot of people, well, you said it was women, so you want to help women specifically, is that correct?
Yeah, women. Yes, very passionate about women.
Certain age range or life phase that they're in of the type of women that you want to help serve?
In general, I connect with moms a lot.
Okay.
But I don't discriminate.
It's fine. But you're not going to help an octogenarian pick out a retirement home that's going to make her happy, right?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
There is a limit to, yes, you could probably do some mindset work on some 70-year-olds, sure. But I don't know that that's going to be your target people that you want to help serve, or that you feel like you might be the most effective with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So
amen.
Moms, is there an age range that you're like, this is my jam? These are the people I know their struggles, and I know that I can help work through stuff with them.
I would say like 20 to 40.
Great. Love it. You guys notice that we're basically creating a business plan for her? And it all starts with target market, which is the first thing we teach in the Lashpreneur Society, but shameless.
That's right.
Okay, so now we have the audience that we're passionate about helping, and we can get into more specifics and more details about who they are and how we serve them, and we can definitely uncover some of that. But it's really important for you to be clear on who I help and why I help them. Because that's going to help you get through all of the nitty-gritties and kind of weigh any opportunities that come. Is this going to help me serve this ideal type of client or this type of market better or worse if I take option A? You know, worse, okay, then I don't make that decision. So if we're looking at helping moms in their 20s to 40s have more time freedom, is that kind of what you're leaning towards, as something that feels alignment? Great. Because more time freedom would allow them to do the things they want to do with their family, or experiences, or travel, or even staying home more, being home with their kids. So in what ways do you feel like the skill sets that you've developed over the years, that you have something to offer a mom who's looking for more time freedom? Or what is the problem that she's coming to you with that you're like, I really feel like that's something I could help with?
Training other women to do eyelash extensions. I've done it a handful of times with different employees that have worked for us at Faces, and they've been very successful with it. So that's good. But what I would like to do is just kind of train people and then set them free. I don't really want to keep them under my roof.
Yes. And I love, and 100%, that was the pivotal point for me, is like, I don't want to tell grown adults to get off their phones. Yes, I could provide a place for them, but I didn't want that. I wanted to run the business, but I wanted it to have this overarching empowerment that was international and not just specific to my one area. Okay, so training women to do lashes that creates time freedom. Does that sound a little bit more kind of in line with what you're looking for?
Yeah, it does.
Something that would excite you?
It does excite me. It really excites me. I love the thought of training people, having them come to me or me come to them, and just switching it up a little bit. And I really am passionate. I want to go deep with women. I want to show them all the nitty gritty, not just how to do eyelash extensions, but I want it to be very extensive, and I want to lean into a lot of other aspects, and I don't want to hold back.
Okay, so get specific. I know you've got ideas in your head, and I want to just get them written out, and I want you to be able to listen back to this and go like, okay, how do we start to align this? So you're talking about not just isolate, dip, and place.
Right.
So
yeah, I want to get into
the skill set you're going to teach them. That's going to be a component of that. But tell me more about what else is going to be a comprehensive part of this vision you have.
Well, Tara, I have to be honest, listening to your podcast has been so helpful for us. And just like the way that you break down business and the numbers. I mean, that has been crucial. And then just to know, to know your numbers and to do all that nerdy stuff and just get in the know. That's really, really big. And there's so many, and you know this, but there's just so many cosmetologists and estheticians, and it's just the last thing on their mind, but it's so important. And we know that. The other thing is I want to, encourage them to like come back with questions. I want them to know that they need to raise their prices every so often. I want to really get into sanitation and infection control, because rumor has it is that here soon in our state and a bunch of other states, they're going to change it so pretty much anyone could do eyelash extensions. That's the rumor.
Not that it's regulated all that well anyways, but yeah.
That's just it. Yep. So I really want to dive into sanitation and infection as well. And then just mindset. That is huge. And jumping into being an entrepreneur and all the highs and lows that come with that. I'm okay with people knowing my struggle that I went through to get to it. And like you said, it's been pretty organic, but it hasn't all just been
roses and unicorns.
No, it hasn't.
Not the Instagram life. Unsubscribe.
I know. But I think that a lot of women could do something so similar to what I'm doing and be very successful and have flexibility with their children and their finances. And that part has been awesome. It really has been.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I've written down, like, aside from just isolate, dip in place, there's also finances, ongoing mentorship, sanitation, infection control, mindset, business ownership are kind of what you're thinking as this encompassing experience that you're going to guide someone through to be set up for success.
Yes, and their health long-term, because that's another thing that I feel like gets like just shoved under the rug all the time. They need to know what they're signing up for. Okay,
so love it. And I totally think that there's definitely a marketplace for that. There's definitely opportunities here. So now if the world is your oyster and you get to pick, do you want this to be something that you're teaching in person? Do you want it to be like a retreat? Do you want it to be all virtual, online? How are you going to deliver this amazing training or course that you're coming up with?
Ideally, I would love to have there be like a virtual component to it where, it's like, okay, before we do like the hands-on, you need to get on and watch this 8-hour class or whatever, and then they can keep that forever and have something to like go back to. But then also I would really, really love to have an in-person option as well. And just like dive in with them after they've kind of had a chance to digest all of the other information virtually. But I know that also there's going to be some people that would prefer to do it virtually, and I don't want to not have that be an option as well.
We're not trying to please everybody. We're trying to come up with your vision, because there's going to be people who are there are pros and cons to each decision. So
I'm nervous about it, Tara, just with like shutdowns and stuff like that. I want to set myself up in a good place where I could just like keep business moving regardless of the world situation. So that's another part where I'm like, God, I don't know what to do there.
But here's a phrase that I want every single one of you to remember. Don't create short-term solutions. Don't solve short-term problems and create long-term problems for yourself.
Amen. Which I've done lots of times.
Short-term problem that then creates ongoing problems long-term. So yes, shutdowns still on our radar. Is it going to be like this forever? Probably not. Even if it was, we as a society will adapt and figure out a way. Even if you are in a bubble and the only things coming out are your hands and that's how you're going to lash, we'll figure it out as we go. But for now, we're just going to anticipate that it's another year, maybe more, of this kind of flex state that we're in. So you're totally valid in thinking through, I don't want to create another business model that may be shut down, but at the same time, we're not the same people we were a year and a half ago. And so we're not going to make decisions in the same way, but we're also not going to operate completely from fear. Because we've all been in that fear state where, especially when we were out of control of whether we were shut down, we were actually in control of our own destiny in a lot of ways. There were plenty of people who did not shut down against government orders. Some were known, some were not. Some had no penalties, other people lost their businesses.
I know.
You are never in control of the environment around you, ever. You are in control of you, and you get to choose. I choose to shut down because it is my belief system that that is what's going to keep people healthy, including my family, loved ones, and my community. So we always
Mm-hmm.
have some aspect of control. It's just when we're as a society going down this fear hole and everything, FYI, if you're not aware of this, everything on the news is marketing. It's all about getting advertisers paid. So they're going to have clickbait type things to get you to watch or to create fear because that keeps you watching. So you just kind of have to take the news in with a grain of salt. My methodology in dealing with news is I will go if I need information on something that's going to impact my life, but I don't let the news dictate how I internally feel. Right? Like if I am worried about, if I'm concerned about wearing a mask out in public, I'm going to go to the health department to determine what numbers are or are not realistic or accurate, and not watch the news about how some 17-year-old who is perfectly healthy died from COVID. You know, we're not going to go off of the fear because they want more viewers.
Yeah.
So be mindful of what you're putting into your brain. You don't have to, we're looking at the long term of your business here. And what you create. So back to what you were talking about, I'm actually going to throw out an idea that might just blow your mind here, or maybe you'll just be like, well, that's dumb. I kind of see you having some aspect of a retreat for women who are already in the lash world that are coming to Wyoming to have it could be a 3-day experience, could be a 5-day experience that is more than just the isolate, dip, and place. I think there's definitely application you could have, but this ties in the travel to Wyoming. You get to be tour guide and show the beauty and have your whole event thing like you talked about. Hell, you can rent out like 4 to 5 Airstreams as like where they're staying.
Yes, girl, that is my vibe.
Yeah, I picked up on that. Where each day you have, it's like a mastermind retreat for lash artists. And hell yeah, I will be the first one to come because that sounds like so much fun.
Please.
But like day one, you find finances. Everybody bring their profit and loss statement or your finances or your sales reports. We're going to dig in. It's going to be a group of 10 of us. We're going to go through finances. But you're going to know, you're going to walk away with a 90-day plan of how you're going to grow your business in the next 90 days. That'll be day one of the retreat. Day two, we're going to have models come in. We're going to work on advanced skills, texturizing, lash capping, mega volume, whatever it is you want to choose to teach them. We can have a whole day on mindset. I'll come speak on that.
Yes.
We can talk about long-term health. We can have a yoga session in the morning. There's a couple girls in our industry who teach on, posture and ergonomics. You can have them come in and talk about, so that somebody comes to this event. It's not just the experience, it's the traveling there, it's the bonding with other women, it's building a community of support and learning lash stuff, and we've all got something in common.
Oh, Tara, you really are blowing my mind. Oh my gosh. I love it. I do. I think that that's beautiful. And I think that something like that would be very fulfilling to me, just a big, deeper purpose,
Yes.
So
I agree.
It's beautiful.
So it's a way to look at, and this is where I feel like so many lash artists in our industry, this may go outside of our industry as well, but they think, okay, I've gotten fully booked. Now what? Okay, well, I'm either going to be an educator or I'm going to have a team. You have to be passionate about, if you're going to build out a team, you have to be passionate about your team being successful and feeding into them and creating a culture that people want to be a part of. It's not about the money.
Right.
If you go into building out a team for money, you're going to lose money and you're going to be the one who doesn't get paid, and your team's going to walk away with 50% of your business. Or it's going to walk out and you're going to have no business. It's not about the money when it's building out a team. You have to be passionate about breathing life into others that work for the culture that you're building, this brand that you're building. It's not about you when you build out a team.
Yes.
When you are becoming an educator, it really is about the success of your students, not your ideals as wanting to be an influencer or travel the world and all this. It's about your student success. If your students don't have success, you have no proof of concept that what you can do, it can actually change lives. So when we come from a place of, I have all these ideas, I have this like random thing about RVs and like wanting to travel, how can you create something that doesn't exist? Because that's what I did. There were no business coaches in our industry. And I kept helping people with business. And I was like, I really don't want to sit and tell people to get off their phones all day. I know.
It's not fun.
And ironically, like even in this phase in my business, it's been hard for me to have a team. And I don't think I micromanaged, but I spent all my time in meetings and it was just draining to me. And that was part of the reason why I shut the business down and fired my whole team. And I have a much scarcer team now, but it's still a struggle for me to like have to manage a team. It's not a gift or a strength of mine. It's something that I do. It's something I know how to do. I don't love it, but you can look at the aspects of things that fulfill you, that reward you, that feel in alignment with you, and create something that doesn't exist. And that's where you don't even have, it's kind of like how you've operated so far. You've had so many things that fell into your lap that were gaps in the marketplace that you can still continue to do. Do you know of any retreats in the lash world? We have conferences.
But a retreat, like that's so smart.
Type. So sitting in a conference room that's like too cold, you've got water and coffee in the back, and then you've got 12 speakers barking at you about their different ways of doing things, like snooze fest.
I agree. And I think that there's a lot of lash artists specifically that are really looking for connection. You know, we love hard. We want to meet other women and friends that are just like on the same wavelength as us. And it's not always easy to figure it out in our industry. So I really do think that you're right. That is like a gap that needs to be filled. That is completely genius. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm planning on taking a Train the Trainers course here soon. I just need to get it scheduled in the next couple months before my girl has her baby. But yeah, and then after that, I want to get all the manuals. I want to get, you know, everything that she does, and then kind of just tweak it and make it my own. But
do you take the Train the Trainers course? No offense to where you're taking the course from. But do you
say that again?
Do you need to take a Train the Trainers course?
I think I want all of her manuals that she has written out, because she gives you just like her whole protocol and procedure. And I think that it would be a really good base for me to start with. And it was, I don't know. What do you think, Tara?
How many lash trainings have you taken?
4.
Do you have the manuals from those?
Only 2 of them gave me manuals, actually.
So you have,
but yes, I do.
Use. Here's what you do. You take the titles of those manuals as your skeleton for your course, and then you write up, because you're gonna have to do that anyways, unless you say you can license my material and copy and paste it. Probably not. But just take the highlights, the topics or the headers of each section as kind of like, this is the flow of the class, and then I'm gonna write out my take on this, because you have to make it your original one anyways.
Okay. No, and it does. And there's no regulations saying that you have to go take a course to be a trainer.
Correct. So I'm all for you getting the support. And if that, I mean, I'm not trying to like knock anybody from that, but I don't think it should be an inhibitor for anybody to get started, because you're going to have to come up with your own stuff anyways. And most people have taken multiple lash courses that just use the topics as like your outline, right? Like part 1, we're going to talk theory. We're going to talk different lash types, curls, diameters. I mean, just start brain dumping.
Okay.
I'll tell you the way that I came up with every single one of my courses: colored Post-it notes.
Really?
Yep. So I would just start to brain dump all of the things, the ideas I had on Post-it notes, and then I would get a big wall and I'd start putting my sticky notes in places that made sense.
Just organize it.
Yeah, to start so I could be like, well, okay, if I wanted to talk about, for me, like it would be like the overarching finances. What is it I want to talk about with finances? And then the first thing you want to do once you've got all those ideas out in the world or in your computer or on a wall somewhere is, what is the number one thing I want my students walking away from? Because as educators, the issue that new educators run into is they want to share everything. I want to share all my knowledge. I have so much to share. But
I can relate to that.
The worst thing you can do for a student is give them all of your knowledge, because it's going to overwhelm them.
Yeah.
Because they can't apply all of this information to their business right now.
Well, and I've felt that before, you know, I've been on the other side of that. It's true.
Exactly. We have tons of members in the society. The number one reason they leave is they get overwhelmed because there's so much information, which is why we have a clear-cut path of start here and work your way through. I know you've got other issues. We'll get to that in a bit, but you got to build the foundations. So if you are looking at, let's just keep it general, you're teaching people classic lashes. And I see it in the forums all the time. People are so upset that they didn't learn about business or marketing or social media or even retention and adhesive in their lash training. Well, when you take a lash training, you're paying the educator to have you walk away with a skill. So they have to teach you isolate, dip, and place and make sure that you know that. Anything on top of that is kind of a bonus, especially if it's only a 2-day training. So that's
Yes.
why I love the idea of this retreat. And it's harder to get people that are new to lashes to invest in a retreat because they don't know if they like it or not yet. So spending any more money than just teach me the skill is going to be a harder sell than people who are lash artists want to develop their skill, but all these other aspects that you talked about.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
So if you're like all in on wanting to create these little retreats, I wouldn't even worry about the whole lash education side of things.
Okay.
You can have your components as part of your retreat, but you don't need to create a whole manual of like step 1 classic lash training, because you're going to develop a curriculum based on the retreat. And you can always have people come in, guest educators, people to Zoom and whatever, come teach at it, because that will help enhance the experience as well.
Oh, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I really love that. Yes, because I do. I think it's so important to be inclusive. We're always learning more. There's always so much. There's no one right, perfect way. It's just, I'm really liking the idea, Tara. It's interesting that you took all of my little pieces of, I don't know what to do, but I want a little bit more, and just threw it all in a bowl and came out with that as genius. It really is.
Your words, not the limitations or all the ifs, ands, or buts or the logistics. And, quite frankly, I don't have to do it. So it's easier for me to be like, here's the big picture. But here's the thing is, so you said train the trainer, and all of a sudden my red flag went off of like, how is that getting her any closer to her lash retreat idea? So this is again where we weigh the data on, is this going to get me closer to my goal or not?
Okay.
So when you said train the trainer, I said, I don't think that's going to get her any closer to her goal, but let me check in. And you were like, oh, well, I guess I don't necessarily need a lash training to have these lash retreats. Doesn't mean you can't still go do lash trainings. But again, you may find that you're not fulfilled by it because this whole lash retreat idea has got you amped up right now, I can tell.
Yeah, it does. I am excited.
So if I were in your shoes, and again, just take it with a grain of salt, it's just my opinion, I would start to look at how can I develop a 3 or 5 day program, 3, 4, or 5 day program experience for lash artists. What would that take? Event planning, how are we where are they going to sleep? What are we going to teach curriculum wise? Because here's the thing is, if you can start to document your method of creating this event, that same template, process, manual, document, whatever, can be used at any location worldwide.
Okay.
So now your lash retreats become a destination experience. You can do it in any major hub that you want to go visit where there's lash artists. Hell, you could even have retreats in Bali. Like, it's just the humidity might really tank lashes, but still.
Maybe we could learn a lot.
Right? It just is mostly theory in our bathing suits. That's fine. But here's the thing is like, if you are wise about documenting how you submit RFPs, requests for proposals from hotels or resorts, or if you want to do the Airstream thing, whatever, like what is it you're doing? Step 1, I need to do this. Step 2, I need to do this. Step 3, I need to do this. That way you can have it in multiple locations. You're just changing the location.
Oh yes. Now that's the big picture. Wow.
Well, I totally see that as possible.
I do too.
I remember, and I don't know if she's still around. I haven't seen her in a while, but Asia K Beauty was doing some sort of lash artist beauty professional retreat where she'd get 5 or 6 girls and they would go to a location. She'd do mindset stuff. And it was more, I think, more spiritual and woo-woo than it was about lash.
I'm all about that too.
Right? And I wanted to do live events last year where we would do, because we had Lashpreneur Live. We booked the place in Vegas and then COVID hit. And so we had all of this planning that we were done for the event, but we couldn't do it. So I love the idea of in-person events as long as, things stay in the trend that they're at where not everybody's shut down all the time. But I don't think that's going to be the case forever. And I think it's going to be really exciting for people to have the opportunity to get together and dive deep with people in person.
I do too. And I love it. I love having that connection with women in person. It's something that I didn't know that I needed as much as I do until COVID hit. But yeah, it is. It's a huge factor, I think.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do next now that we've got this nice, pretty little idea and people are like, wait, how do I find out more? I'm going to have you share where people can reach out to you just to get to know you or say, hey, I'm interested in your Instagram DMs. When you get these DMs, flag them or write them down somewhere so that you start to develop an interest list for this type of event.
Okay. Yes.
So where can people reach out to you and learn more about Hayley and whatever's to come?
So our business Instagram is Faces, Healthy Skin and Lashes. And then you can look us up on Facebook as well. It's the same, Faces, Healthy Skin and Lashes. And yeah, we try to stay pretty active on social. So give us a follow. We would love that.
Awesome. And I'll make sure that we link that in the show notes. Any other questions coming up for you?
Tara, thank you so much. I have taken so much away from this. You know how I feel about you. You know, I think you are a stinking genius, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. You really do blow my mind. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you for saying that. I'm there at that retreat. I tell you, you let me know when it's ready and I will put it on blast and we'll get it booked out and I'll show up. How's that sound?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I've been once.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I went up to, why am I blanking on it? What's the big place everybody goes to?
Yellowstone?
Yep.
Cool.
Buffalo and the geysers and all that. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love that. Good. Yeah, no, you know I'll be letting you know, Tara. You're not going to be able to like get rid of me.
Anybody else want to come to a retreat with me in Wyoming? Let's go.
Right? Sign me up. Tara,
right,
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was your first Zoom session. This was your first podcast experience and you did great.
Oh, thank you so much. You're a great coach. I appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, guys, have a good one.